Alright fellas, here we're back on Pokemon Masters, and today we're going to be taking a look at Special Costume Irida and Hisuian Zoroark, and giving a general overview of their abilities, banner, I guess, though I don't think anyone needs any information on that, but just a general overview of this character's kit, for the most part. So she's going to be dropping on the 16th, 2 days after Adaman dropped, alongside the egg event for Tyrogue, because that is the best event in the world. That's actually not too bad. Rerun for the Hitmons. None of those are spectacular, I don't think, but they're pretty decent, so I mean, it works out. Anyway, whatever. We're going to be taking a look at Irida here, and getting a look at her abilities. So, starting out, she is a Ghost type with the Special Strike roll and the Tech EX roll. That's really good, because just to start out, that's really strong. Even, like, excluding the EX roll, because whatever. Ghost needed help, man. Ghost just sucks. Ghost is in, I'm not gonna say a worse state than like normal and bug, but my god, it's in the lower area for sure. Because our most recent viable like damage dealing option was New Year's Dawn, who is a year and 3 months old at this point. And past that, you've got Signusu Karina, who came out a year and 3/4, like a year and 9 months ago, pretty much. Renegade Cynthia, who's over 2 years old, and then just go down further down the list, right? The only thing that Ghost really had to its advantage was that all of its more free options were more comparable to its limited options, I guess. Like, Ghost had good options, but none of them were, like, very strong, and Irida changes that, which is great, for sure. So she's already helped. She's kind of like Adaman, but Ground needed the help, I think, less in its department that Adaman provided. So Irida provided a type to Ghost, which is great, or a new sync pair for Ghost. Amazing. Anyway, so again, she drops on March 16th, leaves April 3rd, giving you 2.5 weeks to pull for her, effectively. Tech EX roll, as mentioned. Looking at her stats, she's got 648 health, 419 attack, 463 special attack, 156 in both defenses, and 336 speed. Amazing stats. Just across the board, very, very good stats. The defenses, not like crazy. And give her a 6-star X, of course. She's got 500 special attack. That is absurdly good, man. That's a really good special attack stat. Speed is amazing. 376 speed is great. 196 in both defenses is pretty decent for strike standards, right? It's fine. And then 748 HP is also pretty average. So average bulk stats, great offensive stat. And then, of course, Tech EX roll, adding even more across all the stats. Even more bulk, even more speed, more damage, more HP. Yeah, this character's got great stats, 100%. And then that's not even considering level 150, which, that's just absurd. That's just absurd. So that's great. Okay, and now going to her moves, and there's your theme skills, I guess. Going to her moves, she's got Bitter Malice, which is a 4-gauge move that lowers the enemy attack. It has 170 minimum base power, up to 204 base power. That's a very strong move for sure. 170 power is nothing to scoff at. Dire Hit All Plus, being able to do crit support for allies, very, very helpful for, obviously buffing allies crit, right? I don't think it's going to be, like, extremely helpful of an ability, but it is going to be relatively helpful, right? Maxing out some special attack, or crit for allies who could use the buff. Maybe, like, Dawn? I don't know. Maybe she could use the buff. Use the crit help, so that works, right? She's got her trainer move Battle from the Heart, which raises her special attack and evasion by 4 and applies free moves next. So she's also quite self-sufficient in her ability to buff her special attack and evasion, which is great. So full crit and special attack self-sufficiency. Not to the same speed as Adaman, right? Because Adaman is faster on his buffing, plus 6 attack and plus 3 crit just from his trainer move. But still, this is obviously great for self-sufficiency purposes. Definitely still benefits quite a bit from a crit support, though, so you can buff your crit faster. And then her buddy move, Mystifying Bitter Malice, which is a 200 base power move up to 240 base power. 2 uses, no gauge. It's called a quick move. Activation condition is when an ally uses the move a total of 3 times. Deactivation condition is when this move is used. This attack's power is doubled against targets that are affected by a status change. Status condition, flinching, confuse, or trap. And then it lowers the target's attack by 4, and it makes the target flinch. That is very, very strong, right? It's a single target attack, of course, but that is definitely very, very strong. So obviously she's able to She just needs to get a status condition or status change in there. Well, flinch, confuse, trap, not like any status change, right? Like rebuff or restrain, that's not going to activate it, but still, that's fine. And then you just have to have an ally use a move a total of 3 times. This is extremely easy to do. It's like I think it's like the Neo Champion Galar units. Like if we go ahead and look at Hop here, looking at Hop when your team's, okay, his is sync countdown, but it doesn't matter. When your team uses a move, it's effectively the same thing, right? Obviously sync countdown, you could manipulate that, but move, it's just effectively 1 turn of battle, right? You use 3 moves for allies, which is easy. It doesn't say Pokemon moves, it could be trainer moves, right? So pretty much turn 1, you're going to have that available, so that's very easy. Looking at her passives, she's got hit, free moves next, special boost up 1, applying free moves next, or special moves next by 1 stat rank when the user's attack move is successful. That's pretty strong, right? You either get free moves next or you get special moves next, meaning you've got either great self-sufficiency or you have got yourself some pretty amazing power, right? So, or a pretty big boost in power, so to speak, right? So that's very, very good there. Attack trap 9, leaving the enemy trapped when the attack move is successful. This is how you activate the condition for your buddy move, right? Which will double its power. 400 base power is nothing to scoff at, right? 400 power, effectively 444 power if we put her at 3 out of 5, which I figure most people probably will, but of course, keeping her at 1 out of 5 is valid too, because she'll still be strong at 1 out of 5, right? So there's no issue there. But yeah, it's easy to activate this now because she is able to trap the enemy, use the trainer move, buffer crit once or twice, use bitter malice, the enemy's now trapped, and then use the buddy move. Its power is doubled, and you are hitting like a truck, right? Which is amazing. And then, of course, you're making them flinch, you're debuffing attack, so their attack is going to be completely crippled, and again, you're making them flinch, so they're unable to move. Very, very good for single target enemies, but of course, obviously still good in the stadium where you can get a turn denial in. So that's obviously really, really helpful there too. And then Blind Spot, the more her evasion is raised, the more it powers up her sync move, meaning that just for buffing her evasion, which she can do by herself, you're getting a sync move multiplier. The only bad thing to that is that she can't max her evasion on her own at 1 out of 5. You do need a support character, or any character in general, that can do that. And evasion buffers, off the top of my head, I don't remember a lot of. I can only remember Lily and Rabambi, which is obviously not a fantastic option. Yeah, they buff evasion. She buffs evasion here. And then also Misty, who is a very free-to-play option, right? Which is fair, but still also not a great support. Also Archer, I remember he can do it, but their synergy is not anything crazy. Sorry that I don't remember any evasion supports. My bad. But whatever. Either way, buffing evasion is not going to be too difficult to do, especially when she does 4 of it herself. So you can probably sacrifice a little bit of the nuke if you just don't want to build her evasion buffing, which is fine, right? So just at 1 out of 5, and the grid, obviously nothing crazy, but just looking at her at 1 out of 5, it's already pretty good. 500 special attack, 170 base power spammable move, effectively a 400 base power buddy move here is also good, which is 2 uses, by the way. That flinches, makes the enemy makes the enemy flinch, lowers their attack, trap the enemy, of course, for that trap damage, which can be helpful. She's getting free moves next or special moves next, which can effectively be a very good method, a very effective method of buffing her special attack, or doing extra damage rather, or again, making her self-sufficient. So you've got pretty good alternation between those, especially like in a gauntlet scenario where, like for a solo or something. Not that she'll probably be very consistent in that department, having a lack of heals, especially at 1 out of 5, but still, if you do want to do a solo, then you've got that option available. So yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, go for it, have fun. But yeah, anyway, ignore the fact that it's literally an hour later. Some things came up. But yeah, Irida at 1 out of 5 looks pretty good. Good base power move, good special attack stat. 2 uses of pretty much 400 base power move is already really good. Just at base without having to do anything crazy. And then obviously great self-sufficiency. Not too bad. But she gets crazier with the grid. 1 out of 5, as we said, is nothing. 2 out of 5 gets Ridicure 1, Poke Trap, Hit Interference, super effective next. Group Slapdash is pretty good, Sync Thinker, and then Fighting Guard because, you know, Ghost type, right? These are decent abilities, nothing really absurdly amazing, I would say. But I mean, Ridicure is good for HP restoration, so I guess I for that Gauntlet thing, I was kind of lying. She does have Ridicure. Healing ability, plus she does have the dodge. I did kind of fail to mention that she does have that evasion, right? Plus Tree Move NPR could be good to max out evasion, especially in a gauntlet scenario. So lucky dodges, lucky heals, you're kind of cooking, right? You're kind of cooking. And then Sync Thinker for +1 special moves next after using the Sync move. I wouldn't say syncing with her is very optimal because you can run Renegade Cynthia for a better nuke. You can run Support EX for a better nuke. I don't see a real reason to use her nuke all that much, even with a maxed out blind spot. It's not really that absurd. I mean, it's fine, but like, there's better options available for when it comes to using a sync move, right? So I mean, I wouldn't say it's all that great, but I mean, you can, right, and get that +1 special moves next, and then maybe have a stack of special moves next from this passive, and then maybe use a Mystifying Bitter Malice, make the enemy flinch, do a bunch of damage. Voila. Pretty good stuff. And then Group Slapdash for gauge efficiency. This is very nice if you don't think that the free moves next, 50% coin flip essentially is very reliable, which I think that's fair, but I also think that with decent luck, I mean, I think you'll be able to get this pretty easily, but either way, having speed buffs definitely does help a bit, so that's fine. Either way, I wouldn't say it's a crazy 2 out of 5, but it's not too bad for sure. It could be worse, it could be better. All right, 3 out of 5, she gets a lot. She gets Mind Boggler. I'm going to go ahead and node Soften Up 1. Stationary Target 3, hit Special Boost Up 1, 4. Trinity Move Ramp Up and Slippery Slope. I'll say why these aren't great in a second. Yeah. Pecking Order and Terrify 2. Okay, so noting down everything, she's got Pecking Order plus her Innate Multiplier, which means that she's got a total of 200% in total Sync Nuke multipliers. That's good, right? Plus Critical Strike 2 is a lucky skill. And I failed to mention, she gets Trap in Sync 4 as a lucky skill cookie, which is a 40% power up to her sync move whenever enemies are trapped, which clearly that's not going to be difficult to do, right? So you do consider this does not power up her regular moves, right? So you will be losing the 20% damage from Critical Strike 2 and sacrifice for giving your Sync Nuke 20% more damage. So at 1 out of 5, that'd be 140% in total Sync Nuke multipliers, which is pretty strong. And then at 3 out of 5 here, that'd be 240%, which is also quite strong, right? Plus the Tech EX roll. So strong, in fact, that with her full nuke, I don't know if it counts Trap and Sync 4. It probably does. But with Blind Spot and Pecking Order and maybe Trap and Sync 4, her Sync Nuke is the penultimate striker sync nuke in the game. It's second only to Neo Champion Red, because duh, and it's around the same level as Neo Champion Nate, who, despite his shortcomings, I'll tell you, his shortcomings are not in his sync nuke. Not really, anyway. This guy's got a strong sync nuke, right? He's got the Circle, the Dragon Zone, Unova Circle. He's got 190% in total multipliers here. He's got the Unova Master Passive and, again, Circle, right? So this guy's nuke is not exactly soft hitting. And the fact that Irida hits, at minimum, the same level, and most of the time, or I guess in a maximized scenario, she hits harder than him, is pretty crazy, right? So Irida is definitely very good for that aspect, right? Amazing sync nuke for that's comparable to a lot of lower mid-end techs, I would say. That's pretty crazy, realistically speaking, honestly. So that's nice. So yeah. Combined with that, we do have Terrify 2 for lowering enemy attack on entry. This is good if you can sacrifice the energy in order to actually pick it up, which I guess if you do 5 out of 5 and get that extra grid energy, you probably can, right, with little issue. But do consider, obviously, most of the time you're probably not going to be able to pick this up because there is just a lot of better stuff to pick up. Terrify 2 is great, and it makes her sync nuke faster to get to, but I don't know, it's going to be a lot of energy to sacrifice, and obviously it would help out with the amount of debuffing you can do with her Bitter Malice, right? I guess she can debuff attack by 4, so there is that also, which I think that's realistic because you're probably not going to sync with her first. You're probably going to use a Support EX or something. That's probably the more realistic scenario, so yeah, probably wouldn't pick up Terrify 2, just all things considered, because you can debuff attack by 4 here and attack by 1 here. So there we go. Also sync nodes, of course. She gets Mind Boggler, which debuffs enemy special defense when attacking them, so she's able to debuff attack and special defense, and of course, do damage, flinch, whatever else. Pretty much everything. So that's good. Obviously, special defense debuffs are great. It does help to activate Renegade Cynthia's nuke as well, which is quite good because she does have Smarty Pants. So if you do need help activating Renegade Cynthia's sync nuke, you can do that with Irida. And Irida and Renegade Cynthia do work very, very well together with the Ghost Zone as well as the Master Passive. They do work extremely well. So definitely a team I'll showcase when Irida drops. And then Soften Up 1, I only gridded this because I've had horrible luck with getting AoE Striker Sync moves to actually crit, because that 80% chance, whatever, 70, 80% chance, whatever it may be, it is tough to land sometimes, a lot of the time. It's annoying, so If you do need that, you got Soften Up 1 to pick up, which not too difficult to pick up. I guess you do have to pick up Redicure, which is a little annoying, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Special Boost, hit the Special Boost, whatever the fuck you call that. 50% chance of increasing Special Moves Next by 1 when the attack move is successful. That's effectively this passive, but without the free moves next. So this passive has a 50% chance to apply free moves next or special moves next, and this one just has a 50% chance to apply special moves next or not. That could be up to +2 special moves next a turn. It could be as low as 0, but this definitely does increase your chances of getting at least 1 special moves next pretty much on turn consistently. With your average chances, you do average out to having about probably, 80%, probably about 70% chance-ish of getting +1 special moves next per turn, if we do like probability theory or whatever. So that's pretty good. And then stationary target 3 for 30% multiplier just when the enemy's trapped. This is very easy to activate. This is something you should unconditionally pick up. Powers up Mystifying Bitter Malice, powers up irregular Bitter Malices. That's very good stuff. Her DPS is still exceptional, by the way. Train a Move, Ramp Up, and Slippery 2. Not really worth picking up, because you could just pick up NPR. Pick up Train Move NPR, it's cheaper, and it's already on the way to getting these, and you're going to get the same effect anyway, for less energy. Just pick up NPR and refresh. I know refreshing for NPR sucks. Get over it, just to be kind, right? Okay. If you want to run like a nuking Irida / partial DPS set, this is probably like one of your best, okay, minus Train Move NPR. If you don't care about Train Move NPR and you think you can max her stats normally, then just go for probably like this, right? Otherwise, though, I would say something like this is probably what you're generally looking at. Though I think that if with the full value, this is probably a grid you should do. I think that this is really a grid you should invest in. Mind Boggler is going to be so good. Mind Boggler for debuffing special defense is really good. Obviously, we need the 6 energy, but of course, 3 out of 5, you do get 6 extra grid energy if you do invest the Sync Orbs. So I think that it's extremely worth it on Irida to do that investment because Mind Boggler is so good. You get special defense debuffs, which are directly powering up your moves, as well as powering up Renegade Cynthia's Sync Multiplier, and just the fact that you're able to directly power up Irida's moves for attacking, which you are already going to do anyway, is just a far better idea. Especially because Irida's Nuke, while it's great, probably isn't something you're going to be like investing a lot into, just because Bitter Malice is already a pretty strong DPS option, and Mystifying Bitter Malice is like a nuclear option, and you get 2 uses of it. So investing in the DPS is definitely an option that is at least on par with the nuking investment, right? If not better, in my opinion. So there is that. Also, if you do want to get Irida to 5 out of 5 and you want to invest all 10 energy, here's a grid for that. You get Pecking Order, you get the stationary target, the special boost. You get everything important. This is literally everything that you would want, except the Train Move NPR, right? So if you do want that, there you go. If you want the Train Move NPR, you can just sacrifice the sync nodes. I don't think that's going to be a major loss. It might be. I don't know. Either way, whatever. That's probably the grids I would run for Irida anyway. I don't think I would run any alternative grid, honestly, other than like getting rid of Mind Boggler in case I like miss energy. But I'd honestly just like pick this up. I would just pick this is probably just the grid I would want to pick up. Worst case scenario, I guess I'd have to get rid of both sync nodes, but whatever it may be, there's just a lot to pick up. Overall, Irida is insane. I mean, she's got so much good stuff in the grid. She's got 30% in the DPS multipliers with stationary target. On top of the special moves next she gets from her hit special boost 1/4 passive, and then this passive here for extra special moves next or free moves next. Good chances at special moves next. She's got special defense debuffs with Mind Boggler, 30% multiplier here. Great power already with her buddy move, which is able to be used twice, debuffing attack from that by 4, which is going to be very good for activating your Pecking Order multiplier. So you've got pretty much a maximized sync nuke, especially if you're running the Trap and Sync 4 lucky skill. She's got just a lot of good stuff. She's got self-sufficiency with the Train Move NPR, which can also be good for anyone who wants to invest in that. That's also not a bad idea, right? You can do that. Or, of course, again, you can go for Mind Boggler and invest in that, whatever it may be. That's my overview for Irida, I would say. She's good. She's just good in all regards. She's easily the best Ghost unit in the game, bar none. I'm not going to say she's the best Ghost Striker, specifically, because I think she's just straight up the best Ghost unit. Just in general. She's the second best striking Sync Nuke character in the game with her Techie X roll, which is really good because, again, consider that Techie X roll is strong. She gets the stat buff as well as a 50% buff to her Sync move, which is already really good, combined with her 240% in total Sync Nuke multipliers. that's going to be very hard hitting. So yeah, take my word for it. And if you don't want to take my word for it, wait for the showcase I'm going to put out when she drops. That's all I got to say. So yeah, I'll see y'all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons for Irida if you will be going for her. I'm going to need like a spirit bomb or something to summon the amount of luck that I'm going to need in order to actually get Irida without going into debt. Whatever. We'll see how that goes. So yeah, I'll see y'all later. I hope you all enjoyed.